previous video was about oil fillers, caps and drains, and I was mentioning about the oil filter, the housing and the filler and the springs and the washers. I'm just doing the oil filter change on mine now, so we'll pull the oil filter housing off and show you what the go is. So we've got your, from factory, the bolt under there is a 12mm bolt, but over time they get chewed off and rounded off. So you undo the bolt a fair way, and then the filter housing will actually spin so that you can actually drop. You don't need to take your spanner off, and you can actually unwind it by hand. And there's going to be a couple of guys that are going to go, you really need a spin-on filter adapter, but not on this machine. So you just keep undoing it. It's a fairly long bolt, so then a lot of times it won't drop down through your pipe. So if you bring it up the front of your motor and then just pull it out between your motor, between your engine pipes, that's all you need to do. So when you know you're going to do your oil change and you've got your oil filter, take your O-ring out and lay it on somewhere flat first, because when you buy it in your box it's like that and you can't work with it. So before you start mucking around with draining oils and that, just pull it out and lay it flat somewhere, and it'll just go back onto a flat surface and it won't be too hard to work with. So from here, the main bolt that we undid, if you just push it, basically, doesn't matter about pushing it apart, and it comes out. There's an O-ring on the bottom, so that goes into the filler housing. Your filter comes out, and then you have the large washer and the spring we were talking about. So you have your bolt inside your filter housing, your spring goes on, then your washer goes on, and then your filter goes on, and the spring and the washer, well, the washer obviously sits on the rubber so that your spring doesn't push through, and it just holds that rubber face up against the motor pipe on the motor. So your two smart rubbers. So when you get a new filter and you go to put your, so you run your bolt in, just push it, it'll go in, and that's sealed. Just drop your washer in, your spring, your washer, your new filter, get a bit of oil and feed it inside those rubbers, because if you put a brand new filter on and manoeuvre it, every now and then this one of these rubbers, and there's nothing to it, will pop out and not sit right, and then you have the possibility of being in a world of hurt. So make sure you oil them up, even if you screw them down. You screw it down relatively easily, all the way down, and then once it gets down so far, and then you just pop it through. So that's why I did it with the old one. So we'll just go through there, we'll just clean all that up, and we'll put it back together again. Righto, so you've cleaned everything up, got it all nice and shiny and pretty and all clean. We were just discussing with your oil filter bolt, you can see a ball bearing in the center hole, and you can see a spring in the top hole. Now, if you've rounded your head off, and if you go back many videos, I've done this one to the square your head, if you can, square your head up, because apparently the aftermarket bolts of these, sometimes this ball bearing is down in the base of your bolt. So if you do get a cloggage, that ball bearing presses up and bypasses oil, bypasses. So just double check that if you're going to go and buy an aftermarket bolt, that you make sure that ball bearing is in the same spot as your OEM bolt. So assembly, as everything goes together with oil. Everything goes together with oil, except the back tyre and the rim. So we just feed that through. Like we said before, just push, and that seals then. So your spring goes on, your washer goes on, bit of oil. The filters, I don't know that the filters have an up and a down. I don't think so. So bit of oil on the filter, on the rubbers, just so before when we were talking. So if you put it on, you spin it, just spin it down, and it'll sort of spin, slide, but then, you know, that's home, and none of your rubbers have come out of place. So that's all good. Drop a little bit of oil on there. And like I was saying before, if you fill that up as much as you can with oil, and that just saves your engine running without pressure. And technically you're probably supposed to fill it, but it's not going to do that on these new old motors. So you've got to take into consideration the fact too that maybe your oil filter won't go through the pipe and it's got to come in from the front. So you sort of got to take into how much consideration oil you put in. These two tangs on the back of your housing, you have a front and a back. So your oil filter housing sits like that on your motor with these tangs in the center of the motor. So this is the front, these are the back. So there's a front and a back of these to go on the motor as well. Same again, if it doesn't go in, that's what I was saying, you don't want to fill it right up if you're going to make a big heap of mess. Just reposition it. Just makes it a lot easier to try and get started if you can spin the whole housing. Once it's going, then it's just a matter of doing them up. And you'll feel it grab these tangs here, you'll feel them grab the back of the motor. Like that. So that's about as far as you're going to get. Make sure your fins line up. If your fins don't line up, you might have to come back one and then grab your spanner or your ratchet or whatever you're using and do them up that way. Just before it surfaces, just make sure your O-ring's centered and home, because you don't want the O-ring jumping out a little bit. So just make sure you screw him around a little bit. Oh, that's still wrong. Is it? Yeah, I can't see it. Somebody go around one. There you go. Oh. That's better. Just wiggling just before he goes home. That's enough. Don't grab hold of it and refit. just, that's it. There's your oil filler, your oil filter housing. So we've overfilled it a little bit. You could probably go even further than that. Of course, here in Australia, we have the oil coolers on the front of the motors. So all that oil has drained down into the motor as well. We've only got a bit over half of the oil filter housing with oil in it. So this oil level here will drop considerably. So then we'll fire it up, and then we'll need to top it up again. After 30 seconds or something, we'll turn it off, and then we'll top it back up again, and then you'll have your engine full of oil, and then your sight glass full. It'll start first, which it probably won't. We just watch him come back up again, and it'll come up a bit. It won't come up a lot because the level between the full and the half, it wouldn't be half a litre of oil. So yeah, just watch him come back through, and we'll just top it up. Give it a little bit of a rest, and then top it up. So.